Showing you been marked as People's 157. Do you see that person? I paused this at 3 seconds. Do you see that person?
Yes, sir.
Who's that?
That's Brandon Martin.
Recognize who that was in the batting cage?
It was hard to make out his face, but it looked like Brandon the way he swung and from what I could see of his face.
All right. So how many seasons did he play under Tampa Bay Rays?
I believe 3.
3. During the off season, where would Brandon stay? Still in Florida with the Rays or somewhere else?
I don't know about every year, but I do know that the first year he did stay in Yorba Linda.
Okay. Where did he stay with somebody in Yorba Linda or what?
He rented a house at in a very high-end area of Yorba Linda.
Did you ever go to that house?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you ever see the house in a photo or anything like that?
No, sir.
Did you talk to Brandon about that house?
No, sir.
Okay. When Brandon was contracted with the Rays, did you ever talk to him about his contract?
Yes, sir.
Did he tell you how much that contract was?
Yes, sir.
How much was that?
I believe it was $860,000 in that range.
And so when he was drafted to go play for the Devil Rays, he was given $860,000.
In that range, yes, sir.
And did you keep in touch with him once he was playing for the Rays?
I talked to him maybe 3 or 4 times during that time period.
Okay. Let's talk about the first year he was playing with the Rays. After he signed that contract, did his attitude change at all?
No, sir.
Okay. What about the second year?
Not that I can recall, no.
All right. And what about the third year?
The third year, I don't think I talked to him until I think I just talked to his mom about him.
Do you know, have you ever talked to Brandon about his we'll call it extracurricular activities, specifically drugs?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you notice any sort of change in Brandon up to the year 2015?
Yes, I did.
What was that change?
He went from a nice, presentable person to someone that you could tell there was evil in his face and his eyes.
Okay. And how did you notice this? Were you talking to him on the phone? Did you see him during the off season or what?
I want to say the first time I noticed it, I was asked to come talk to him by his mom.
Okay. So Melody asked you to go have a discussion with Brandon?
Yes, sir.
And do you know what year that was?
2015, I believe.
Okay. Was it close in time to the incidents that we're going to talk about?
Maybe within 6 months.
Okay. And did you, in fact, go and speak with Brandon?
Yes, sir.
What did you speak to him about?
I actually didn't even get a chance to speak with him.
Why is that?
When I saw him, I didn't see... When I saw him at the house, I didn't see that me talking to him would do any good after looking at him.
Okay. So you went to go speak to him. Where was this?
This was in Corona at the Winthrop house.
Okay, so at his parents' house.
Yes, sir.
And when you went to go speak to him, did he have like some sort of attitude, display some sort of attitude towards you?
No, he just looked different in his eyes.
Okay. And whether it was speaking to him or with his mother, did either one of them give you an indication what was causing his attitude change?
Talked to his mom quite a bit. I was trying to figure out if she knew of any drug use other than the marijuana. I was convinced that there was something else. She was convinced that he was only smoking weed.
When you say something else, were you thinking other drugs?
Yes, sir.
Now, I want to go into, so the incident that we're going to talk about, I believe, was on September 17th, 2015. Is that correct?
The day that I got to the house?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I want to talk to you about an incident, well, not really an incident, but a time when you saw your uncle about a month before that or so. Do you recall a time when you met with Michael Martin at the Winthrop residence, and you noticed that he was rather emotional?
It was at my father's house.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was at your father's house.
Yes, sir.
Where does your father live?
Yorba Linda.
Yorba Linda. And when you were at your father's house, did you notice if Michael Martin, Mr. Martin, was somewhat emotional?
Yes, sir.
Would you describe his emotions? What did you see?
Him and I were sitting out in the backyard, and we were sitting by the fireplace, and he started crying. He was talking to me about Brandon. Okay.
So he was visibly crying, tears coming from his eyes?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is a yes or no question, but was it because of something that Brandon had said to Michael?
Yes, sir.
Did that something involve a racial slur that Brandon directed to Michael?
Yes, sir.
And did that have something to do with Brandon telling Michael that he resented, that Brandon resented being Michael's son?
Yes, sir.
Now I want to jump forward to September 15th, 2015, so just 2 days before you went to that Winthrop residence and saw what you saw. Okay?
Yes, sir.
On September 15th, 2015, did you also go to the Winthrop residence?
Yes, sir.
And did somebody organize for you and others to go to that house?
My cousin Sean asked me to come to the house.
Okay. And what was the reason why you went to the house?
My cousin Sean asked me to come to the house to beat my cousin up.
To beat up Brandon. Okay. And I'm assuming that's not that something rather unusual?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you have an idea as to why they were asking you to do that?
Before I talked to Sean, it was something that he had done. I didn't know the specifics.
Okay. So we won't go into any of that, but but what was the purpose? So let's assume you go there on the 15th and you beat up Brandon. Was it just you that was going to do it, or were other people involved?
I believe it was just me that was contacted, at which point I dropped my kids off at home and I reached out to other family members to tell them to come as well. Okay. Now, in your mind, was this going to be like a group beating or what? No, sir. Just you? As much as I wanted to, I decided it would be good to not go to jail for doing something like that. So although you were contacted to go beat up Brandon, did you in fact do it? No. And what was your reasoning of contacting other family members to go to the house? I felt that the elder family members, including my dad, my uncles, and one of my cousins should be involved because they understood the situation with Brandon. So rather than using physical force upon Brandon, were you just trying to have people talk to him? Yes, sir. And also, I think to show a presence that we're aware of the situation. Okay. So when on September 15th, you said that you dropped your kids off and then you went and contacted other family members. Is that right? Yes, sir. Did the other family members show up? Yes, sir. So who's at the residence on September 15th? That I can remember would be Sean Martin, Brandon Martin, Melody Martin, Michael Martin, myself, Rick Anderson, my father, my uncle Stanley Anderson, I believe my mom, Robin Lancaster, and I know there was someone else there. I just can't think of who it is. And I'm not sure if you said Melody. Yes, my Aunt Melody was there. Okay. And so on the 15th, everybody's there, and they're there either for or because of Brandon. Is that correct? Yes, sir. And what was Brandon's attitude in response to all these family members going there for him? He didn't come out and talk to anyone. He wasn't, I want to say he was just staying up in his room. And at that time on September 15th, 2015, Brandon lived at the Winthrop residence? Yes, sir. Was he still playing ball for the Rays? No, sir. Was he playing ball for anybody? No, sir. Was he employed at that time? No, sir. And how long had he not been playing baseball, approximately? Possibly a year. So for about 1 year, Brandon was more or less unemployed? Yes, sir. Were any of Brandon's friends at that, on the 15th, would you call that like an intervention? No, I don't think that was an intervention. Okay. What would you call it? Last second rally to try to make sure our aunt was okay and have him arrested or have him taken somewhere. Just, we were kind of fed up with him and needed to do something. So this wasn't the first time that you knew that there was some incident with Brandon and a family member? Correct. But as far as you were concerned and your family was concerned, this would be the last time? In my opinion, it was going to be the last time.
These incidents that occurred between Brandon and other family members, were they verbal? Were they physical? Something different?
There was verbal and physical altercations.
All right. So on the 15th, you said that Brandon would not come out of his room. Is that right?
I believe he might have come down to get something out of the fridge, but I didn't see him come outside and talk to anyone. I didn't go in the house really. I maybe once or twice used the restroom, but the most of the time I was outside, and he did not come outside.
Who else was outside of the house?
My Aunt Melody and my mother and my uncles and my dad as they showed up to the house.
Okay, maybe an easier question would be, other than Brandon, who was inside the house?
I believe it was my cousin Sean and my uncle Michael.
Were you told, and I'm not asking what you were told, but just a yes or no, were you told that something violent had happened earlier that day?
Yes, sir.
And when you showed up, did you just stay outside of the house?
I believe so.
Did you see your cousin Sean?
I believe I did, yes, sir.
Okay, so at some point Sean was outside of the house, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And did the police actually come on the 15th?
Yes, sir.
Before the police came, did you see Brandon at all?
I believe I saw him walk downstairs, maybe towards the fridge, while I was going to the restroom, I believe.
Okay. Did you talk to him?
I don't think so.
So the only time you went inside the house was to use the restroom?
I believe so.
Okay. And that it just was a coincidence that you saw Brandon at that time?
Yes, sir.
All right. So other than that, did Brandon come out and talk to anybody?
Not that I can think of. Not that I remember.
So now on the 15th, who was it that called the police?
I was the caller.
Okay. And why did you call the police?
He tried to, Brandon tried.
Let me stop you there and ask it a different way. Without going into the facts, is there a reason why you called the police versus, somebody else?
I felt that I needed to be the one to initiate the police coming over.
Did you feel that Brandon was a threat?
Yes, sir.
Did you feel that he was a danger?
Yes, sir.
So you called the police?
Yes, sir.
So was that the Corona Police Department?
Yes, sir.
And did they in fact show up?
Yes, sir.
Now, when Corona PD showed up, where was Melody Martin?
I want to say she went to go get food or went to the store. So when the police showed up, she was out in her car across the street.
Okay, so she wasn't there.
Correct.
All right. Now, when the police showed up, was Brandon arrested or did something else happen?
He was taken to 5150.
Okay. Do you know what a 5150 is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that when somebody is detained when they're a threat to themselves or to others?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Overall, answer will stand.
Now, was that the only option given to the family? Was the 5150?
At the time, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, did the police say anything about arresting Brandon?
So the police were outside and they were also inside. While the police were there, I was not inside. So I did not hear what they said to individuals inside.
Okay. Did anybody from Brandon's family object to him being detained under a 5150?
Myself and I believe my aunt did as well.
Your aunt, Melody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did that have anything to do with his baseball career?
Yes, sir.
Explain that.
So my aunt didn't want something to show up on his baseball record.
Stan.
Okay. Why were you objecting for the same reasons?
No, sir.
Okay. Why were you objecting?
Because I felt he needed to go to jail to keep him away from the family.
Got it. But at any rate, on the 15th, Brandon was detained and he was taken away from the residence.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now I want to jump to the 15th. The residence, is that located at 1027 Winthrop Drive in Corona?
Yes, sir.
Your father, Ricky, did you talk to him before 4 p.m. on the 17th?
Yes, sir.
And how often did you talk to him before that time?
We had been talking all day, maybe 5 times we talked on the phone, maybe more throughout the day.
And you said your father, Ricky, he lived in Yorba Linda?
Yes, sir.
At any point, well, let me withdraw the question. Let me ask it this way. Was it normal for Ricky to go to the Winthrop residence throughout the week?
Say the last.
Would Ricky go to the Martins residence quite often?
I believe so. Probably a couple dozen times a year.
Okay. And on the 17th, Ricky was at the Martins residence?
Yes, sir.
And how long had he been there?
I believe he'd been there since 2 p.m.
And do you know the reason why he was there?
He wanted to make sure my Uncle Michael was okay. And he was also, I think, keeping an eye out for Brandon.
And you said that your Uncle Michael, finding out if he was okay. I want to talk to him, about him for just a minute. What was Michael's health like in September of 2017?
He was in bad shape.
Okay. When you say bad shape, how bad?
So I don't know all the specifics, but from what I understood, it was diabetes. He was, I think, on dialysis. Every time that I saw him in maybe the 6 months leading up to it, he was just sitting there in a chair, could barely move, in pain. Just not the uncle I knew.
Did you ever see him like walk around up from the 6 months before the incident?
No, sir.
And you said that he would just kind of sit in his chair, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And where was that chair?
When you walk in the front door and you go straight towards the back of the house, just to the left of the walkway as you're on the threshold of the living room, the TV room.
Is it what color is the chair?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Is it a leather type chair?
No, sir. Not that I remember.
Okay. So, but that was kind of his place up until September 17th, 2015?
That in his wheelchair, yes, sir.
Or his wheelchair?
Yes, sir.
So that's pretty much how he got around, was in a wheelchair?
I believe that's the only way he can move around.
So on the 17th, you said that you had spoke to your father quite a bit on that day up until around 4 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
On the 17th, well, I'm going to ask you a difficult question, but do you recall the last conversation that you had with your father?
Yes, sir.
And what time was that conversation?
I believe it was a few minutes after 4 o'clock.
And while you were speaking to your father, did he mention whether anybody else was at the residence or had come to the residence?
Yes, sir.
And did he tell you whether, well, who did he say came to the residence?
Are you offering it for proof?
No. Well, I'll jump past that question and ask another question.
All right.
You said that was the last conversation you had.
Yes, sir.
Did you try calling your father after that 4 p.m. conversation that you had?
Yes, sir.
Do you also text message?
Yes, sir.
Did your father?
He did.
Did you try texting him as well?
I believe I might have texted him.
Okay. And you said that you tried calling him?
Yes, sir.
How many times after that 4 p.m. telephone call did you try getting a hold of your father?
Probably 5 or 6.
And were you pretty close to your father?
Yes, sir.
Was it unusual for him not to pick up the phone if you tried calling?
Yes, sir.
Was it unusual for him not to return a phone call if you left him a message?
Yes, sir.
Did he pick up the phone?
No, sir.
Did you return any of your messages?
No, sir.
Now, I want to jump back to that last conversation that you had at 4:10 p.m. Did anything that he mentioned to you about who was at that residence give you cause for concern?
Yes, sir.
And what was that? What was your concern?
That my uncle and my dad's life might have been in danger, that something was going on.
And why would you think that your father's life would be in danger?
Because I know Brandon was just released from the hospital.
And so you said that maybe half a dozen times you tried calling your dad.
Yes, sir.
After him not responding or picking up, what did you decide to do?
I decided to leave my house in Orange and drive out to Corona to my aunt and uncle's house.
And imagine, well, what time did you leave your house? Approximately. It doesn't have to be an exact time.
Maybe 4:30 p.m. or just after.
So that last conversation that you had with your dad at just after 4 p.m., you tried contacting him about half a dozen times between then and 4:30. Is that correct?
I believe so.
And you were very concerned of your father's well-being?
Yes, sir.
So you left at 4:30. I imagine that traffic from Orange County, well, let me ask you this. Are there any freeways that you take to get to Corona? 55
to the 91, or 57 to the 91 this day.
Okay, and what day of the week was this? Was it during a weekday?
I believe it was a Thursday.
And what was that traffic like?
No traffic on the 57 from what I can remember. 91 eastbound was wide open. I decided to get into the fast track just to get there as fast as possible. All of a sudden, just past the 55 in the fast track, it stopped completely while the rest of the 91 freeway eastbound was wide open.
Did you have a fast track pass?
No, sir.
Okay, but you decided you wanted to get there as soon as possible anyway.
Yes, sir.
And so now that the traffic has stopped, how long did it take you to get out of that traffic and actually make it to that Winthrop house?
I would say probably 45 minutes to an hour.
So now you get to the house. What do you do? Do you knock on the door? What's your normal custom and practice? Do you just kind of go in because you know them, or what?
Yeah, I could just walk in, or yes, I could just walk in. Okay. I pulled down the street, saw my dad's truck across the street, which was kind of odd. I turned around at the end of the street, parked in front of my aunt and uncle's residence, got out of the truck, walked to the front door, and I noticed that the door handle and the locks had been changed.
Okay. Now, first you said that it was kind of odd to see your uncle's truck parked on the street. Is that right?
My dad.
Oh, your dad's truck. Okay.
My dad would have parked in front of the house.
Okay. First off, I want to show you People's 187. You know who that is?
Yes, sir.
Who is that?
Oh, that's my Uncle Michael Martin.
Now, do you see here where it says he's 5'11" and weighs 200 pounds?
Yes, sir.
On September of 2015, did he weigh, in your eyes, 200 pounds?
No, sir.
What would you estimate his weight was then?
Maybe 150.
Showing you People's 95. You recognize this picture?
I don't recognize the picture. I recognize what's in the picture, yes.
So, sorry, that was my bad question. You recognize that house?
Yes, sir.
And what house is that?
That's my aunt and uncle's house.
Now, if I zoom in, you see the door handle there?
Yes, sir.
And do you see what's above it?
Yes, sir.
On September 17th, when you arrived at that house, was that new?
Yes, sir.
And what was new about that? What's there that wasn't previously there?
I don't ever remember seeing a electronic key knob to get in, the top knob.
Like where somebody enters like a passcode
Yes,
to
sir.
get in? Showing you People's 96. Do you recognize that door?
That looks like the front door, maybe.
Okay. And what about the, just above the handle, the knob? Is that the passcode?
It looks like the same type of
Like the passcode lock?
Yes, sir.
Showing you People's 97. Does this area look familiar to you?
Yes, sir.
And where is that?
That's inside my aunt and uncle's house, walking towards the outside, towards the front door, it looks like.
And I'm going to zoom into the bottom left, this photograph. And do you see a box for a new passcode lock?
Yes, sir.
Going back to People's 95. Is this the front door that you had walked in on September 17th?
That's the front door I opened, yes, sir.
And will you tell us what you did when you opened that door?
I opened I turned the handle, and I remember as it was opening, I noticed that it had the new electronic lock, and I think I was comforted to know that it was unlocked. I opened the door, and I saw a body towards the end of the house, towards the end of the walkway.
Did you actually go up to the body?
No, sir.
Could you tell who it was from where you were standing?
He looked black. That's why I thought he was my Uncle Michael. It was hard to tell, but I believe it was my Uncle Michael's body there.
Okay. How far away were you from the body?
At the front door.
From where this photographer took the photo, were you approximately right there?
I might have had my foot on the threshold.
Did you go inside the house at all?
Not that I'm pretty sure I did not walk in at all. Like, if I would have walked in, it would have been one step.
Okay.
But I don't think I did that.
What did you do after seeing the body there? Well, I'm going to ask you another difficult question. Did you call out for anybody when you were there?
Not that I can think of.
And why? And what did you do after you saw the body?
I ran to the rental truck I was in and maneuvered it a few houses down and turned it around into a position to kind of aimed at the house, but to get away from the house while I was trying to call the police.
When you left the house, did you leave the front door open or did you close it? Or do you recall?
I don't recall.
Okay. Why did you not go inside the house?
In the military, we were taught to not go into a situation without having a tactical advantage, without numbering the enemy. And I had no idea what was going on. I was by myself. Just instincts. I didn't go in.
So that was basically your training, what you were taught in the military?
Yes, sir.
And so now, after you saw what you saw, you went down a couple of houses, and I believe you said you called 911.
Yes, sir.
Did you wait for the police to respond?
Yes, sir.
Did you try calling your father again?
No, I don't think I did.
Thank you.
Ross? Let me just ask you, Mr. Welburn, is your cross going to exceed the noon hour, do you believe?
It'll be longer than 10 minutes.
All right. Then maybe we'll just break and then pick up cross at 1:30. Since the witness is coming back anyways. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and break for our lunch hour.